pond.
Welcome back to my wicked themed Animal Crossing island. Last time we made Munchkin Land, so if you haven't watched that video yet, I highly suggest you check it out. Also, this is your spoiler alert. If you have not seen the movie or the musical, I would suggest that you watch those first, unless you don't care about spoilers. Today we are working on Shiz University, which is quite the undertaking because this place is literally ginormous. We have a lot to cover, so without further ado, here is how I made Shiz University in Animal Crossing. I decided that I would make the Resident Services building the center of my university. It only feels right, and it fits the vibe of the school too. I started by placing some of the castle items around Resident Services, but I then decided that I wanted to build up some cliffs in the front so I could do some layering, which meant I was going to have to make some inclines leading to Resident Services. So I placed those and then continued to work on the front facade of the university. I placed down this brick pathing instead of having grass, which I think looks much better. I then placed some more castle walls and was placing these gazebos, which I think look exactly like the ones from the movie. After I did that, I needed to decide how big I actually wanted this build to be. So I placed down the brick path outlining the Resident Services building, just so I had an idea of where I wanted to build out to. And then in true Animal Crossing fashion, I got distracted and remembered that I wanted to include the dock and the water where all the boats come in at the beginning. So I started by placing down this dock at the front. It was here that I realized that I did not leave enough room for me to put actual water, so I saved this water code and placed that down. I covered the entire front area of the university with these water codes and just had it go all the way to the beach. To finish the front facade, I made this custom code using acpatterns.com. If you want to use this yourself, scan the QR code on your screen in your Nintendo Online app. I put this code onto the lampposts and I think it looks amazing. I then tried to put a few other random items to give it some more pizzazz, like the boats, some hedges, etc. Next, I went and started to terraform a large area at the back, which is where I plan to have my character's house and Shino, aka Madame Morrible's house. I framed out an area for Shino's house with some of the castle towers and medieval walls, and then I put Shino's house down in the center. This is how it's looking so far. I then repeated this on the other side and put my character's house there, which we're gonna decorate the inside of later in this video. I made sure to redo the exterior to make it fit in more with the aesthetic I was going for with the rest of the school. Speaking of decorating houses, I did end up doing this like way later in real life, but for sake of timing in the video, I'm just going to show you how I decorated the inside of Shino's house right now. I wanted this to look like Madame Morrible's study, but of course, since the room is really small, it wasn't going to be perfect. For your reference though, here is what Madame Morrible's study looks like. In Shino's house, I made the little corner with the fireplace, chair, and couch. I also made sure to have the table, which I would have liked to be in the center, but because of how small the room is, I ended up putting it in the other corner. I did use this chandelier to mimic the giant chandelier she has in the center of her office as well. With some finishing touches, this is Madame Morrible's study. Let me know what you think. Did I do a pretty good job? I think I did a pretty good job. Now, we need to finish the general shape and outline of the school here. So I used castle walls and gates to outline the entire Resident Services. It took me a while to figure out what combination I wanted to use, whether that was the castle gates or castle walls, but I decided to have a few castle gates on either side so I could access the Resident Services from the side as well, instead of only being able to go in from the front. To finish the outline, I lined it with the dock code we used earlier and placed some water codes as well on the left. We do end up doing something different on the right, which I will talk a little bit more about later. Now, as for the top portion, I wanted the castle walls on the bottom to align with the walls on the top. At first, I thought that I had to move the inclines that I had already placed in order to make sure that they lined up, This ended up being not true at all and I messed up. Yeah, so that was annoying and I had to move them back, but that's okay. I placed castle gates in front of the inclines, so when you go up them, it looks like you're entering through some big doors. And then I tried a few combinations to get this how I wanted it, but I ended up putting 2 pillars on either side of the inclines and then using gazebos for some more framing. I made sure that there were castle walls lining all the way to the back as far as I could put them, meaning I just had them connect to the 2 cliffs where the houses are on either side. Let's move on to showing you how I decorated the inside of my character's house. I started with the entrance to Shiz University, which is literally just some benches and like a few podiums, nothing crazy. I then worked on Dr. Dillamond's classroom. This room is really small, but I ended up lining it with bookshelves, then putting a few desks with chairs. I would have liked to put more, but again, the room is really small. I also made sure to include Dr. Dillamond's desk with a windflower on it, of course, to represent a poppy, his favorite. I also made the animals should be seen and not heard sign from scratch. Don't worry, no misspellings this time, and hung it up on the center of the wall. Lastly, I added the Capricorn ornament because it is technically a goat. So there we have it, that's Dr. Dillamond's classroom. Next, I worked on the Ozda's ballroom in the basement, which honestly is really just an ocean wall, a dark flooring, a disco ball, and some mood lighting. I didn't do a lot because I feel like the Ozda's is just one big room, but if you have any suggestions, let me know. Last but certainly not least, I worked on Glinda and Elphaba's dorm room. This is by far my favorite room in the entire house. If you don't know what it looks like, here is some reference photos of their dorm room. As you can see, it's really pink, cutesy, and fun. I found this custom code that I wanted to use for the little wood paneling they have lining their entire wall. I also found this door code, which looks like a door leading out to a balcony. It took me forever, but I had to individually craft like 50 or more of these glow-in-the-dark stickers and customize all of them individually too, because I couldn't just put the wood paneling on the bottom. It took so long, but it was absolutely worth it because look how well this turned out. After I spent an hour on just the wallpaper, it was now time to place a ton of pink furniture. I was basing it more on the beginning when Elphaba only has like one little corner, so I placed Glinda's side and then put Elphaba's bed behind some clothing racks like it is in the movie. I wish I could make the little "It's Great" sign and put it on the bed, but I can't, so just imagine it's there. I then put a ton of clothes on the walls, a few vanities. I even put Chief's photo on Glinda's side because he is representing our Fiero. I am so proud of how that turned out. It's literally so cute. The rest of the rooms in the house I decided to just block off because I had no idea how I would even go about building the library, and I honestly didn't really feel like doing the cafeteria, so yeah, but maybe I'll go back and do it one day. Anyways, next I really wanted to include the little outskirts area where Dr. Dillamond sings Something Bad. So I made this little path going off to the side and put Billy's house there. I then decorated the inside of Billy's house to look like the scene from Something Bad, but honestly, that house in the movie is literally only there for like 1 minute, so it was kind of hard for me to see everything that was inside. I literally went up to my TV screen and was like, what do they have? So just keep in mind, I made a few creative liberties, but not that many. The main thing is I put up these missing posters since he has those in his house, and I hung some mobiles on the other side for the part where you can see the little shadows while he's singing. I did use this teapot to represent the little pot he pours from, and I placed a bunch of lanterns around as well. I really wish the wall map item came in like a brown color so I could have hung that on the wall like he has it in the movie, but it only comes in blue, so I just placed the map on this table instead. I think given we barely see this house in the movie, I did a pretty good job. To finish the outskirts, I placed some bikes down for when Fiero and Elphaba take the lion cub, and then I just randomly placed a bunch of trees and bushes because I wasn't sure what else to include. Behind the outskirts area, I did make the train station where Glinda and Elphaba take the train to the Emerald City. City. And yes, there is also going to be a train station in the Emerald City, and yes, they're going to connect, but that's coming in a future video. I was originally going to try and actually replicate the train from the movie onto like a Standee design, but I'm not a designer, so that was not happening. I ended up using this green Standee code for the side of the train and then just the regular Plaza train item. So this is how the train was looking. After I placed down the train, I did put a Mario pipe behind it, which will again lead to the train station in the Emerald City. Lastly, to finish this off, I placed about 1 million wheat fields and some windmills to replicate how it looks in the movie. Because I placed so many wheat fields, my island started to lag every time I would play, but I always say, you know, a dream address is good when the island lags, so that just must mean my island is amazing. And that, folks, is a wrap on how I made Shiz University in Animal Crossing. I did go around and put a few other like random items here and there, but honestly, I don't really feel like that's enough for me to include. This build took me literally over 20 hours, so if you like the build, please like the video. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, here is how the build turned out. Thank you so much for watching today's video and for watching all the Wicked videos. I appreciate all of your support so much. Our next video will be the Emerald City build, so stay tuned. I'm sorry if it takes me a little while. I'm literally still building it in real time. If you want to see the progress that I'm making in real time, be sure to follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/IHaveBrewster. If you liked today's video, then please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as it really helps me out. With that, I will see you all in the next video. Bye! Oh my gosh, guys, this cockroach is a student at Shiz University. Welcome, cockroach. Hope you enjoy your time here. We have high hopes for you here at Shiz.